Thanks, Zina. Hi, Jacques. Hi, Kurt-Lee. Jacques, nice-looking centre combination there. First start for Keenan at 13 in Test rugby, and obviously Andre Esterhuizen's never played against the All Blacks. Well, let's start there. I'm sure there's lots of questions around the squad, but can you just talk about your thinking around the centre pairing?
I think if you look at Andre, the couple of games, let's start with him first. If you look at the couple of games that he played for us, I thought he had good games, and obviously he's in the squad. And I think if you look at the amount of games that Dukes had, I think that's just a nice rotation. Dukes have played 80 now for a couple of weeks. And then, Keenan would be probably from the outside would be an interesting decision. But for us, Keenan has always been at the back of our heads, a backup there. And obviously, Keenan is now a backup 13 for us until we've got other options that we can play there. Obviously, JC is playing and currently starting there and he's in form. We can move Damian Dalenda out to 13, which we've done before. Until, unfortunately, Luki is still injured and probably 2 weeks away from being fully fit. So with that in mind, we've trained Keenan there in trainings. He's operating. And that's why we're comfortable with the fact that we can play Keenan there, and it will be a nice challenge for him, obviously playing against a quality centre on the weekend.
Sure, thanks.
Jacques, in terms of this game, so obviously people will look at your team and say there is a slight experimental look about it. Is it really important for you to win this game, or is there is the bigger picture that you are looking at?
Yeah, I think I think if you look at the team, probably if you look at the backs, I would take the experimental comment probably. But I think if you look at the forwards, out of we obviously went against Wales last weekend with a 6-2 split. I think there's good continuity, and with a 6-2 split, there's 14 forwards involved. Out of the 14 forwards, there's 12 forwards involved that played last weekend. So I think it's only Trevor and Eben who's changed in the forwards. Yes, in the backs. I think just under 50% played last weekend, and there's some new combinations here. And obviously we have 4-9, so we have a new 9 combination in Kobus and Faf, and the centre combination that we spoke about now. And then obviously the outside backs. I mean, I said to the outside backs the other day, if you look at the performance of our outside backs in all the games that we have won, and there was obviously the man of the match coming from the winning team. First game it was Kurt-Lee scoring a hat-trick, and then it was Cheslin against Argentina, and then Argentina away it was Keenan, and then and now this game it was Keenan again. So I think we've got quality outside back. So yeah, it's just spreading the load with him.
Thank you, Zina. Thank you, Jacques. Thanks, Kurt-Lee. Jacques, just a follow-up on that in terms of what you expect from New Zealand and the main goals for this game. I mean, obviously, nobody ever plays to lose, but what do you hope to get out of this game, and what do you expect from New Zealand?
Yeah, I think that probably if you look at the of the 2 warm-up games that we've played, I think it's fair to say that Wales is probably this grinding team. So if I can say, their style of play is probably, I won't say opposite, but their style of play is probably a little bit different than New Zealand. So I think we get the best of both in terms of the 2 warm-up games that we have lined up before the World Cup. I think if you look at New Zealand, we all saw the game that we played against them in New Zealand, and they're obviously a team that wants to get a quick start or fast start, and obviously we were under pressure in that first 20 minutes, and until we got back into the game a little bit after that. But so I expect a high tempo game, like big continuity, looking for offloads, unpredictability, speeding it up. So that's what we probably expect from New Zealand.
Ross?
And not taking away, they got a proper set piece, so sometimes one can focus so much on the razzle dazzle on that side, that you forget that they've got a solid scrum, they've got a good maul, they score maul tries, they stop mauls well, they stop your scrums well. So not taking anything away from the basics of rugby. They've got a good set piece, and on top of that, they've got this fast, quick game that we will have to handle.
How's it, guys? Jacques, you mentioned Lucanio a bit earlier. How has him and Andre been in the setup? How are they looking at the moment? And the 5 guys that you brought along with the squad, do they all fly back now after this game to South Africa? Is that how that works? And then secondly, just playing New Zealand sort of on neutral ground in Twickenham, is that a bit different for the team? And does that sort of level the playing field rather than the game being in South Africa or down under?
I'll probably start, Ross, with the second one first. Yeah, I think, yes, it's a special occasion. It's and a quite exciting occasion for us. I've never been involved in playing New Zealand in a game like this. Obviously, the other neutral ground that we played them was in the World Cup at Yokohama. So yeah, and having them as a warm-up game, I think it's quite exciting for both us and them. You know, playing at Twickenham. I don't know who's going to have the most support at Twickenham, but I think it will be a nice occasion, and it will be, yeah, it will be obviously it will be win at all cost. I think not win at all cost, but yes, probably if you play when New Zealand and South Africa play against each other, it's one of those test matches that you want to win, you know. So there's always been a big rivalry. So not taking away that will definitely be there, but I think it will be a nice, exciting, and I think it will be a great experience for all of us, both for us and for them. That's a nice thing of playing them at Twickenham or on a neutral ground. And then your first question was regarding Andre and Luki. Yeah, Luki, like I mentioned earlier on, he's probably about another 2 weeks away from being fit. And then Andre is like on the edge of being fully fit. You know, he just need obviously now a lot of fitness. But like I mentioned now, I think for the last 2 weeks, I think he's not he is not in a return to train protocol. So RTT, return to train, that's where Luki is, return to training still. He hasn't trained with us yet, but Andre is in a return to play protocol, so RTP. So he's on his way back to playing. So he's probably a week away from being declared to play, but he then will need fitness. Like I would say, Sia is now past his return to play, and he started playing, but then the play must be regulated like it was on the weekend. So so he played 40 minutes under medical advice, and hopefully this weekend we can put some more minutes into him, maybe take him to 50 or 55 or maybe 60 minutes, but there will also be a cap on that. So and then regarding the ready-to-play squad, yes, the ready-to-play squad will have, they'll leave for their clubs after the test match against New Zealand. Yeah, they will leave for their clubs.
Thanks, Zina. Hi, Jack. Could I just ask quickly? It's probably a long answer and a short answer to this. So if I could have the short answer, please. The last 4-year cycle for you was a sprint, because you guys came in as a new coaching team and you took the side to the World Cup. What's this one been like as a marathon, I guess? Is it, and then what are the different kind of considerations that you've had to take into account?
Yeah, Charlie, I think unfortunately, somebody asked me the same question the other day. Are we happy where we are? And the short and the long answer is yes and no. And the no part is probably if you think of the rotations we had in 2020 and building squad depth and almost if you think of building a squad, there's performance on the one side that gives you momentum and that gives you confidence, and then there's also development on the other side, if I can call it development, is creating squad depth, getting experience into younger players, getting them comfortable in the environment and stuff like that. I think those are the two things that you always weigh up against each other. We probably would in 2020 have done the same that we did in 2022, where while not losing the performance, you get a little bit of growth in your team as well. Where 2021 was predominantly, listen, British and Irish Lions, that's a big one that we have to, it's full out performance. There's not a lot of time for growth. And then 2023 would probably be the same. So where we are, yeah, unfortunately, we lost a year with COVID. So that's where we are.
Oh, excuse me, gents. Hi, Jacques. Hope you're well. I know nobody actually wants to look that far ahead, so I think I know what the answer will be. But just in terms of a psychological marker, this is potentially a quarterfinal opponent for you guys. So is there any sort of like I almost want to say psychological marker that might be laid down either by winning or losing in this game, given that you guys might meet again in future, short-term future?
Yeah, I think it depends on how much you believe in history or not, and if you think back at 2019, we had a draw with New Zealand in Wellington in the Rugby Championship, and then we obviously lost against them in the pool stages, and so yeah, I guess it depends on how much you believe the past has an influence on the future. But yeah, so in my personal opinion, no, I don't think, again, that New Zealand will want to win this game to build momentum going into the World Cup. We would like to win this game to build momentum going into the World Cup, but I don't think destiny will determine who's in the quarterfinal, and we don't even think about that, like you rightly say, because if we look too far ahead and we don't focus purely on Scotland, on New Zealand first and then Scotland, you might not even get out of the pool.
Thank you very much, Zina. Jacques, just a small bit of clarity on Lukhanyo and Andre. Will they be staying with the team post this game, or they'll also be joining the clubs in the event that there's no injuries this weekend?
No, just short answer there. No, after this weekend's game, Friday night against the All Blacks, if there's no injuries, obviously, if there's injuries, different, and probably not Lukey, because Lukey is still, like I mentioned, he's still another 2 weeks. He hasn't even trained with us yet. So he's still in the process of returning to training, but he's close to that. Where Andre is in the process of returning to playing. So, but if there's an injury, it might change. But like we mentioned, the squad that we announced earlier this month is the squad that got submitted, and yeah, because there was no injuries, like we mentioned. If there's injuries, we would have changed it, but there isn't currently any injuries. If it changes, let's say somebody picks up an injury during the week, then obviously there will be a change in the squad, or in the next 10 weeks. I think the World Cup final is only 10 weeks from now. So if there's any injuries within the next 10 weeks, I mean, even a guy like Luet, even a guy, any of the guys that are here with us, the John Lukes, Joseph, I'm leaving a couple of names out, but those guys that are with us here, Thomas de Toy, then obviously they will fall in. But no, after Friday, Thomas will go back to his club. If there's no injury, Lukey will go back to his club. The guys will go back to their clubs.
Thanks, Z. Jacques, obviously, we know from the last game against the All Blacks, that tempo game, you've mentioned it, at the beginning, just how they manipulated your defense and so on. I mean, it's one thing to talk about it and another thing to come up with to execute the plan. I mean, how much focus has there been on that, and are you confident that you've got the answer this time for that? Yeah,
I think obviously you try, and that's a nice thing of playing against a team that put you under pressure. You obviously see where there's opportunity for attack to put you under pressure, and you must find new solutions. And obviously you look for new solutions, and you've got new plans like we always have. And that's the beauty of this weekend playing against the All Blacks again. You've got opportunity to try and rectify, to implement those new plans, and to try and rectify the areas where they last put you under pressure. Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Thanks, Ina. My question is for Kurt-Lee. Kurt-Lee, just how motivated are you guys as a group ahead of Friday's game, and also just regarding the outside backs, how important is it you guys maintain that fear factor you have, being clinical, being lethal, dotting down the ball on the white line to just gain momentum going to the World Cup?
Thank you, Ati. I think now building momentum now before the World Cup is really important for us. And yeah, I think we're going to go back, look at the New Zealand game, what we did wrong, and just try to rectify that. And yeah, the squad that has been picked, I think our goal is to get closer and yeah, go out and execute a plan that is set out for us for the week.
Sorry, yeah. Just a question for both of you, Jacques and Kurt-Lee. Just take us through what you've seen in Keenan as a centre. I think Kurt-Lee would have seen a bit more of him, having grown up with him. And Paul, this is a bit younger than you, but when you grow up with each other, you actually get to see a play in action. I mean, Jacques, for example, Keenan hasn't played 13 much outside of high school, but clearly he was always highly rated as an outside back.
Yeah, no, I've seen what Keenan can do. He's grown as a player, and yeah, he's very competitive. And yeah, no, I think he will do good on 13, and I'm really happy for him. And yeah, when we in the room, we always say is that he would like to get an opportunity at 13, and now he has given the chance, and I think he'll make the best of it. Yeah, no, from me, like I said, it might look from the outside. I mean, it might look like quite a left field option, but obviously he spent a lot of time with us, and he's run there a couple of times in trainings, not a couple, often. So we get to see him there as coaches, and I know it's in the training field, but yeah, comfortable. Yes, there will be adjustments, obviously, and obviously he's playing. I don't know who New Zealand's going to select, but if they play Rico, he's probably one of the top 13s in the world. So it will be a nice. I think it will be a nice challenge for Keenan. But like Kurt-Lee said, now I truly believe that he's up for that challenge.
Thanks, Ina. Kurt-Lee, hi. You played at Ellis Park last. That will be about a month since you last played. Are you the kind of guy that goes from 0 to 100 quickly? I mean, we've seen that on the field, but I just mean, do you prefer playing more regularly to stay in nick?
Yeah, no, it would be lovely to play all the games, but the coaches has a plan, and yeah, I'm telling myself just to be always ready if I get the opportunity. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Okay, I'm going to Engels vra. I know you were taken aback a bit when you were asked about Mani's performance on Saturday. Now that you've had a bit of time to sit back and analyze it, are you guys going to get some specialist help for him, or are you still happy with where Mani is in terms of his goal kicking?
No, we're happy with Mani. He's obviously, it's like anything. If a hooker misses 4 lineouts, because it's a specialist skill that's there for the world to see, like high ball, like line-out throwing, like kicking for poles. I think obviously it's probably amplified a little bit more. But though, in terms of Mani, very happy where he's. We would prefer him scoring or creating 8 tries for us. And then work on his goal kicking. But yeah, that's where we are in terms of him.
How's it, gentlemen? Good afternoon. My question, Jacques, I think Craig touched on it when we were talking about Keenan earlier on, but I just want to find out. So considering how Lukhanyo and Jesse have been the quote-unquote specialist 13 in the squad for the last however many years, is Keenan Moody now being looked at as somebody possibly part of a succession plan, would you believe? I know you won't be part of the team going forward, but is that something that, let's say, if you were part of the coaching staff, something that you would look into, having Keenan as part of going forward as a 13. And the question that Jan just asked, I think it was Jan, with regards to money. Now, pardon me if I'm wrong, but he hasn't started with Damien, especially with the Springboks. So what are you hoping that combination would do? Because he's quite comfortable playing with Damien at the Storm, as we've seen in the last however many seasons they've been playing together. So are you hoping perhaps to get that confidence from Manie now playing with Damien at 15?
Okay, yeah, firstly, yes, okay, let me think. The first one that you asked was regarding succession planning for Kainan. Yeah, Kainan is purely because obviously Lucanio is still injured. So it's maybe, and like I mentioned, we've got, so our backups were always, we had Lucanio, we had Jesse at 13, and then we had Damien de Allende that can move out to 13. And yeah, so in terms of succession, I'm just looking at now. So I think it would be out of place for me to talk about succession 2024, 2025, 2026. I mean, that will be up for somebody else. But for us currently, where the Springboks are now with Lukie's injury, obviously, just to have a third option, you know, we have JC there. Yes, we can put Damien de Allende there, but to have a third option there, yeah, that's where Kainan probably comes in. We must be very, very bad luck. Obviously, if he has to start there fast, but it means that we would have lost two of the guys that I've just mentioned, or both of them. Yeah, so succession going forward, that will be up to the guys after this World Cup. Then in terms of Damian Willemse and Manie, yeah, I think that in terms of a combination, I think they've been playing together for quite some time now. Even yes, when I coached the SA under-20s, they were playing together. When did they? With Italy, 2015, 2016, Manchester, England. So they've been playing together on a national point of view from SA schools, SA under-20. So I think if I understood you, Kate, if I understood you correct, in terms of do I think they will have a good combination with each other? Yes, I think they will have a good combination, and like they always have, like they have with the Stormers, and since on national level, from a school's point of view, they've already played together.
Thank you, guys. We'll be sending out the recording shortly. Dankie, Kurt-Lee and Ninas.
Thank you very much. Dankie almal.